On a cold March morning, Emily, shivering in the rain at an almost deserted train station, clutches her coat tightly, her fingers reddened by the chill. She is on her way to a job interview, her last hope after months of uncertainty. With a crumpled ticket in hand and only $10 in her pocket, her last bill for a meal after the interview, she waits for her train. Suddenly, a timid voice interrupts her. "Excuse me." A soaked, bearded man with tired blue eyes asks her for $10 for a ticket, claiming his wallet has been stolen. He promises to pay her back, but Emily hesitates. That $10 is all she has, a barrier against hunger and despair. She could ignore him, as others have done, but something in his gaze, a sincere sadness devoid of threat, touches her. "Do you have someone to call?" she asks. He shakes his head. His phone is dead. "How do I know you're not lying?" she presses. "You can't," he admits. Against all logic, Emily pulls out the crumpled bill, her heart racing at the thought of this madness. "I don't know why, but I believe you," she whispers as she hands it to him. The man, moved, takes the bill like a treasure, promising to repay her. "Get home safe," she says with a faint smile. As the train arrives, he disappears into the crowd, leaving Emily alone, the damp wind on her face. She has given everything without even knowing his name, an irrational act that haunts her. Yet, in this moment of loss, a fragile peace settles in. She boards her train, unaware that this moment of generosity has just planted a seed that will change her life forever. The next day, Emily arrives at her job interview, soaked and late. With no money for the bus, she walked through unfamiliar streets, her socks drenched. The receptionist, with a tight smile, informs her that the interviewer has left for another meeting. Emily pleads to wait, but she is dismissed. Outside, under a biting wind, she stands frozen on the sidewalk, watching indifferent passers-by. Her stomach growls. She hasn't eaten since the day before, her wallet containing only expired receipts and an old photo of her mother. Back in her rented room, a single bed in a dilapidated building, her landlord awaits her. The rent, overdue for 3 days, must be paid. "I'm trying," she murmurs, but he remains unyielding. "Another tenant will take the room tomorrow." Resigned, Emily packs her meager belongings, 2 outfits, a battered book, a phone without a plan, into a worn backpack. That night, she finds refuge in a 24-hour library, settling into a discreet corner under buzzing neon lights. The next day, a guard asks her to leave. The cold, metallic benches of the park become her bed, the stars her only comfort. Each day blends into the next. She searches for work, but without an address or phone number, doors close. Yet, in her darkest moments, she thinks back to the man at the station, to his grateful eyes. But the cold and loneliness prevail, and one night, in a bus shelter, she cries silently, mourning her mother, her lost security, and the pain of being invisible. On a misty morning, Emily, hungry and exhausted, sits on a bench in a park, near a forgotten statue. She hasn't eaten in 2 days, the hunger becoming a dull ache. An elderly woman, Ruth, approaches, a wool shawl draped over her shoulders and a paper bag in hand. Her movements are graceful, her gaze kind. "You look hungry," she says softly. Emily, wary, murmurs, "I'm fine." Ruth sits down, pulls out a sandwich, fresh bread, ham, cheese, mustard, and places it between them. "I always take an extra just in case," she explains. Emily initially refuses, ashamed, but Ruth insists. "Is your pride greater than your hunger?" Defeated, Emily takes the sandwich, her hands trembling. The first bite brings tears to her eyes. "Thank you," she stammers. Ruth smiles, then mentions a soup kitchen a few streets away, on Monroe Street, that is short on volunteers. "Ask for Carol, say Ruth sent you," she adds before leaving. Touched, Emily stares at the half-eaten sandwich. That afternoon, she finds the soup kitchen, a modest building named Table of Hope. Carol, an energetic woman in her 50s, welcomes her. When Emily mentions Ruth, Carol softens her tone. Ruth knows how to spot those who need a second chance. She hands her an apron. Take this and get to work. In the following days, Emily returns to the soup kitchen, not for the food, although it is offered to her, but to help. She peels potatoes, folds napkins, and learns the names of the regulars. Each story, pain, loss, but also resilience, touches her deeply. The visitors, despite their struggles, smile, joke, and help sweep the floor. These exchanges revive her humanity, eroded by weeks of isolation. Carol, the manager, notices her dedication. One evening, after putting away the last plate, she hands her an envelope. A little compensation, you've earned it. Inside, $20, enough for a bus pass, a bit of stability. More than the money, it is Carol's trust that moves her, a sign that she is not invisible. Emily sits on the sidewalk, watching the sun set in an orange sky. For the first time, she no longer feels like she is free-falling. She is still poor, homeless, but a glimmer of hope has ignited. She thinks of the man at the station, of her own act of kindness. This memory, mixed with regret and pride, reminds her that she chose to do good, even in distress. This conviction grows, fueled by the faces at the soup kitchen. She begins to see the streets differently, not as a trap, but as a place where she can contribute. On a calm afternoon at the soup kitchen, as Emily wipes down the tables after the lunch rush, the doorbell rings. A man enters, dressed in an elegant coat, his shiny shoes contrasting with the wear of the place. His calm blue eyes seem familiar. He scans the room, then stops on Emily, a slight smile on his lips. Dropping her cloth, she stares at him, a memory surfacing. Hello, he says, his warm voice more assured than she remembers. Do we know each other? She asks, puzzled. You trusted me when no one else did, he replies. Suddenly, everything clicks. The train station, the rain, the $10. It's you, she whispers, astonished. He introduces himself, David Carter. That day, I was soaked, desperate. You gave me everything you had. Emily, still in shock, notes his transformation. The disheveled stranger has become a well-groomed man, as if he stepped out of a corporate office. I came back the next day to the station, but you had disappeared, he explains. I only had your face in my mind. When she asks why he is here, he says an instinct led him to the soup kitchen. Emily, skeptical, doubts that a man like him would randomly enter this neighborhood. In a cozy cafe with mismatched chairs, Emily, still in her apron under her coat, clutches a cup of chamomile tea, gifted by David. Across from her, he stirs his coffee and slides a black business card. David Carter, CEO of Novaspark Technologies and founder of the Carter Foundation. Emily, stunned, recognizes Novaspark, a company famous for its digital educational solutions. Is this your company? She asks, incredulous. David nods, explaining that he founded Novaspark 10 years ago, revolutionizing access to education for underprivileged schools. But that day at the station, he was on a secret mission for the Carter Foundation, which supports the homeless. I wanted to understand their reality, so I went a week without a wallet or ID. Except I got robbed on the first day, he says with a smile. Emily laughs, picturing the lost CEO. Everyone ignored me, except you. You gave me your last $10 without asking questions. Embarrassed, she downplays it. I thought I was being naive. You were being human, he corrects her. He explains he sought her out, haunted by her generosity. Then he makes a proposal. To join the Carter Foundation, not for Novaspark, but to work on community programs helping at-risk youth, like she once was. We fund social innovation projects, and we need people like you with heart, he insists. Emily, without a diploma or stable address, doubts. I have no qualifications. David brushes aside her fears. What matters is your story, your resilience. Overwhelmed, she feels the weight of her struggles. Nights on the street, hunger, rejection, transforming into an opportunity. This cafe, this moment. is a bridge between her shattered past and a possible future, where her compassion becomes a force to change lives. Emily's first day at the Carter Foundation feels like stepping into another world. Located in a renovated warehouse, the headquarters is bright, alive with laughter and ideas. The walls display photos and quotes from people helped by the foundation. David introduces her to the team, not as a beneficiary, but as a colleague, which changes everything. For weeks, she undergoes intensive training: community planning, grant writing, social project design. She accompanies coordinators in shelters, food banks, and rehabilitation centers, absorbing every lesson. Her confidence, long buried under doubt, resurfaces. One day, David hands her a file. Your own pilot project. Design something that matters to you. Inside, her proposal neatly typed. A mobile soup kitchen. A sky blue van traversing neglected areas to offer hot meals and human connection. Inspired by her nights on the street and her experience at the Table of Hope. The foundation funds the prototype, entrusts her with a small team, and most importantly, its trust. The first time she sees the van, adorned with the logo Open Hands Project, she cries in the parking lot. Her first outing takes her to a park where she once slept. That evening, she serves over 100 meals, but more than food, she offers smiles, stories, and remembered names. The program gains popularity, attracting volunteers and donations. Between rounds, Emily notices a shift in her relationship with David. He is no longer just the CEO or the stranger from the station, but a man of quiet kindness, always present with a coffee or a joke. One Saturday, during a community lunch organized by the Open Hands Project, Emily spots a familiar figure on a bench. Ruth, the woman who had offered her a sandwich in her darkest days. Overwhelmed, she approaches. I think of you every day. You saved me. Ruth, with a gentle smile, replies, I just fed a hungry girl. They chat like old friends, then Ruth drops a bombshell. I was hoping you would cross paths with David. Confused, Emily learns that Ruth is David's mother. He told me about the girl who gave him $10 when he had nothing. I wanted to meet you. Ruth explains that she orchestrated their meeting at the soup kitchen, seeing in Emily a rare soul. Stunned, Emily realizes that her journey, the train station, the sandwich, the soup kitchen, forms a tapestry woven by acts of kindness. That evening, on the rooftop garden of the foundation, under a starry sky, she shares this discovery with David. He listens, then takes her hand. I thought fate was just coincidence, but meeting you has changed me. For Emily, this revelation sheds light on her past. Every trial, every tear has led her here, to a meaning to love. She understands that her suffering was not in vain, but a path toward a greater purpose. Their bond, born from a $10 bill, has transformed into a deep alliance, not only personal but dedicated to helping others. This realization under the city lights marks a turning point. Emily is no longer defined by her losses, but by what she builds, carried by a newfound faith in a future where every step matters. A vibrant spring animates the city. Emily and David stroll through a community garden where the Open Hands Project collaborates with a shelter to provide meals and training. Under a blooming magnolia, David broaches a serious subject. I've been offered to open an office in New York to lead the foundation's urban expansion. Emily, her heart heavy, listens. They want me to go, but I don't want to go without you, he adds, offering her to co-lead the project. Upset, Emily hesitates. This garden, this city, have been her refuge, her roots after years of falling. She thinks of a young woman she saw sorting seeds, a soul she helped, just as she had been helped. I love what we're building here, she says. These people have given me a place. David, understanding, smiles. That's why I admire you. Sitting on a bench, they speak frankly. Maybe our paths are separating geographically, Emily murmurs. Only geographically, he replies. They devise a plan. David will leave in the fall. Emily will stay to develop the project. They will remain connected through calls, visits, and joint projects. Their bond, forged by shared trials and a common vision, transcends distance. Beneath the floating petals of the magnolia, Emily knows she is not losing David, but that they are planting seeds in different soils. This decision, difficult yet mature, reflects her newfound strength. She chooses to stay true to her mission while cherishing a relationship that grows differently. This bittersweet moment showcases a confident Emily, capable of navigating between love and vocation, ready to shape a future on her own terms. A year later, the Open Hands Project has transformed. With expanded routes and an army of volunteers, it serves 2,000 meals a week, offering dignity and connection. Emily, now the director of a homeless assistance center, manages showers, job training, and therapy sessions. The hands that once trembled now hold the keys to a place of renewal. During the celebration of the first anniversary, under garlands of photos showcasing transformed lives, Emily arrives after a meeting with the city hall. Suddenly, she sees David, holding wildflowers and a box. He crosses the room, their eyes locking. "You came back," she whispers, moved. "I promised you I would," he replies. In front of everyone, he pulls out an intact $10 bill. "I kept it, not to pay you back, but to remember the moment that changed everything." Then he opens the box, revealing a simple ring. "You gave me a faith that money can't buy. Let me spend my life proving you were right." Emily's tears flow freely, blending past and future. The girl in the rain, the bench, the sandwich, the blue van. "Yes," she murmurs. Applause erupts, but she hears only her heart. Later, under the lights, she holds the bill, smiling. A little kindness can be the start of a miracle. This story, born from a spontaneous gesture, shows that a single act, $10 given without expecting anything in return, can weave a tapestry of hope, love, and redemption, transforming lives far beyond what one can imagine.